Welcome, Mother's Land community. Please hit the subscribe, like, and share button. On today, we're going to go through a technique to maybe help some of you out. Some of you have probably seen or heard of this, but I discovered it by accident and decided to look it up and found out that people really already were doing it. And so, but I said, well, someone may be like me, didn't know anything about it. So that's what we're going to do. Someone suggested, one of our subscribers suggested that I mention, we were talking and they asked how much land we had and told them we had 10 acres and that we didn't have. They asked if we had this, had that, some things we didn't have and some that we did. So one of the things was an ATV. So he said, well, hey, what about when you next time you do a video, just see if anybody out there has anything like that that they would like to donate. So that's what we're doing. If you have an ATV that you would like to donate, if you're a company, you would like to donate an ATV to us, that would be great. We will make sure that we showcase your name on the ATV every time we show a video of doing anything with the ATV or your bandsaw blade sharpener or anything that you would like to donate to the land. Okay? All right. That's our commercial spiel. So on today, for all you ladies and gentlemen out there that do woodworking, like you, as you can see, I have a small 20 by 20 building, and it's just everything is in here just cluttered up. One thing that I do not have and really didn't see the point in getting one is a joiner. I know why some people use them, don't knock it, but we've been able to make some high end. This is an unfinished edge grain cutting board made from maple, cherry, and walnut. I mean, and the quality of it is just high end. This is an unfinished board. Also have an unfinished end grain board. As you can see, these are pretty high grade boards that we make here, and we do that without a joiner. So, and before I show you this, I've actually made these boards without the process I'm getting ready to show you here in just a second. I just figured it out, and that's what we do here. Sometimes you just have to figure things out, but here it is. I have here a piece of walnut that I already did. As you can see, now the edges still haven't been squared up yet. I'm going to take them to the miter saw later and do that. But if you will notice, can you see that? Like I said, the edges are not squared up yet, but there aren't any gaps in there. This is a perfectly flat, whereas these, you notice the curve? That's what we're trying to get out. And when you use just your end fence, it does do a fairly good job of getting your material nice and straight, square, and 90. It does. But I discovered something that does it even better. And I'm using the bow extender. I bought this about a year ago, and it's just an extension to your end fence for your table saw. And so that's what we're going to use. Let me show you this. Now, this table saw is an old Craftsman table saw. The motor is only 2 horsepower. I mean, it's old. A friend of mine gave it to me, and I went on and received it because I looked at the table size, and it's more table than my Bosch 4100 has, and that's what I like. So my idea was to plan to extend my table saw into this one. And so in doing that, what I discovered was, and I use my end fence to get all of my wood, get them all nice and flat. Now all this lumber here, this maple, this is hard maple, walnut, and I'm sorry. This is the hard maple. This is cherry. Oh, from right there they look the same, but that's cherry. And this is the walnut. It's what I use to make cutting boards out of. The wood comes right off the land. We have all of our wood kiln dried. It comes back to me. I take it to the router sled to get it all nice and flat. Nice and flat. And then the next thing we have to do is we got to knock these edges off here to where they are nice and square. That's what we want. We want flat wood and square wood with pretty much anything we make. Amen, woodworkers? All right, so let's get into it. Now, what I discovered was I can take my bow, and what this does, like I said, this is the bow extender, and you use it, it extends out for whatever you're cutting to give you some extra support. And I use it sometimes I didn't. So what I discovered about using this as an edger was this. And this is what I found that people are doing. When I did research this, people are using a metal leveler and it works exactly the same. But since I happen to have this, I just put it up there without clamping it down. This comes with clamps. And the way it works, you put it in like this, has slots for it, and you just lock it down to your end fence. And when you do that, you pretty much get the same results with the edges being nice and flat. You get the same results as just using your end fence, is what I discovered, no matter what you do. But when I take the clamps off and just use the bow extender loosely like that, well, let's just do one and see what we get. Just bear with me a second here. Like I said, this walnut has already been done, so we're going to get it out the way. Slide this back. Move this table back. I may have to go back even farther than that. Let's see. I'll bring it in. To about right here. Let's see. Let's go right there. And the key is, I may come out better doing this side first. Looks like it, because you got to make sure that it does rest easily without moving, at least on one side. And as you can see, this is not clamped down. I'm just leaning it up against my end fence. And we're going to start right here. Let's try right there and go with that. Let's see. Go ahead and go up here. And when you're doing your cuts, there's no need to have your blade out too far. Just enough to get above the wood is perfectly fine. All right, as you can see, the bow, I'm gonna lock the end fence down, but not the bow. The bow is still just loose. All right, here we go. And like I said, this is a 2 horsepower. Let's get these cables out the way. Let's make sure. And I do have a 0 that I'm going to put on that. All right, right there. Let's come back this way. I want to make sure. There we go. There we go. I want to make sure that it stays
That's the one thing about having that extender, and especially moving loosely like that. This is what you can do if you don't have a joiner. It works very nicely. You're probably going to do 2 passes. You know what? I think I want to get this in one pass. One pass. So I'm going to come in a little bit more. Right? Oh, that should do it right there. Lock that down and let's go. All right. And remember, I'm dealing with 2 horsepower here. So I have to go really slow with this hardwood. Really slow, but and the reason I'm doing this is I figured I could do this on this table saw with this blade. Then when I get ready to do my more perfected work, I'll go ahead and go to that table saw. Not doing too bad with this hardwood or a 2 horsepower. And I don't have everything quite set up yet.
I don't have everything quite set up yet. I will set this up to where something is catching the wood over there. But and see, there's a little burning. That's because probably, like I said, this hardwood it's just, you just have to go slow with it. Like I said, we're dealing with 2 horsepower. It even does that on my 4 horsepower. You just have to go slow with it. But as you can see, this is what really just got me. That edge is flat. So now I can take that nice flat edge, do the same thing, lay it up against it. Oh, look at that. I mean, it's just as flush up against this bow. I'm not kidding. This just blew me away because when I do it just on the end fence, you could see a little space in there, just a little. And it took me a while. I had to work it. I mean, really work it. Sometimes I had to run it through the planer back to the table saw. But doing it like this with the bow or your metal, make sure it's a metal leveler if you use a leveler. And make sure that leveler, if that's what you're using, is long enough to extend out. This bow, like I said, I just had it for a year. But it is, I mean, it is perfectly flat up against. As a matter of fact, it's so perfect, it looks like the bow is part of the wood. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. That just blew me away. Now, when I use my end fence, even if I put it up against my end fence, I can see just a micro of a gap. And that's what you're going to get in your wood. But up against the bow, it's seamless. I mean seamless. And that just blew me away. It did. So from now on, that's the way I'm doing all of my wood. I'm just going to lay the bow up against the end fence, because here's the thing. When I set my end fence, I use a measuring tape. There are many ways to do this, but quick and easy. I would go in here, get my blade out, measure from one end to the other end, and it's near perfect. Couldn't understand why the wood would come out just a couple of hairlines of a gap or space, but that's what it did, and I had to work it to get it all flat. But with this or a leveler, just leaning up against your end fence, you get a perfectly, I mean perfectly flat edge. Let's get the square. And like I said, I have not gone to the miter saw yet to get the edges. Once I get both these sides flat, I'll go take it to the miter saw and get these, because the ends they're a little off. So I'm doing it this way. As you can see, make sure you can see it all good. No gaps. No gaps. All the way down. No gaps. I mean, it's just absolutely perfect. Save your money for a joiner. Save your money. And just do it this way. If you don't have a bow laying around to use, this thing comes in very handy. Like I said, I purchased this last year. But I will be using it a lot more edging up this raw lumber. I'm going to lay this side up against the bow and get this nice and flat. And I got, like I said, all of our wood comes off the property. It goes to the kiln, comes back to us here, and we go on the router sled to get it all nice and flat. And then we take it to the bow, the miter saw, and then we'll start cutting out pieces to glue up for our cutting boards. But as you can see, we have stacks of maple, hard maple, cherry, and walnut all over the place. That's it for today. Continue. Like I said, please hit the subscribe, like, and share, and have a blessed day.